All right, we're going to be talking about law of sines. This works similarly, law of cosines. This works similarly to law of sines. So you have just different versions of this first formula. So each of these are solved for a different side. And then in the second column, you have that same equation solved for an angle measure. Okay, so on this one, law of cosines, you're going to be using it when you have side, 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 or side, angle, side as your given information. So here in the first example is side, side, side. I'm going to go ahead and sketch a triangle. It just helps me visualize it. I have a short side and then a couple of sides that are longer. So I'm going to call this my side that's 8. That's going to be side A. So angle A is going to be across from side A. I think I'll call this side 14 and this side will be my 19. So this will be B, this will be C. Okay, so solving this triangle, we are then looking for the 3 angle measures. Okay, so we're looking for the measure of angle A, measure of angle B, and then angle C. So of course once we get the first 2, then we can just subtract from 180 and that will give us our third angle. So let's just start with finding angle A. So I'll be using this first version. So it's going to be cosine of angle A is going to be B squared. So 19 squared plus C squared, which is 14 squared, minus 8 squared all over 2 times B times C. Okay, so then really it's just calculator work. You're going to simplify. This becomes 493 over 532. And then do inverse cosine. And that's going to equal 22.1 degrees. I just rounded to the nearest tenth. So 22.1 degrees here. All right, so that's my smallest angle. All right, I'm going to do the same thing, just finding angle B. So it'll be that second version. So this time it's going to be A squared plus C squared minus B squared all over 2 times A times C. Okay, again, just do some simplifying, order of operations. Get negative 101 over 224. Now you might think that it's odd that we get a negative value here, but remember that cosine is negative in the second quadrant. So this one is actually going to be an obtuse angle. And this gives us angle B is 116.8 degrees. Okay, and then we can just subtract from 180 and that leaves us 41.1 degrees to be angle C. Okay, this next example is an angle side angle example. So I'm going to kind of estimate, oops, let's try that again. So angle A, I'll call this angle A 115 degrees. And then we're going to have a side that's 10 and a side that's 15. Okay. All right, so you can see by the information given, I have side, angle, side. Again, if we're going to be solving this, we're looking for the missing pieces, so we'll need to find side A, measure of angle B, and then angle C. Okay, now this time, because I know the angle measure of angle A, we're going to start with finding side A. So side A is going to be A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times cosine of angle A. All right, so B is 15, C is 10, and angle A is 115. Okay, so again, you're just simplifying using your calculator. Do make sure you're following order of operations, and if possible, keep as much information in your calculator so you have as accurate of an answer as possible. So then we're going to square root here, and A is going to be about 21.26. Okay, 21.26. So there's side A. Okay, so now that we have all three sides, we can now find an angle measure. So let's find angle B. So cosine of angle B is going to be A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. Okay, so again, you're just plugging in. A is 21.26, so that's going to be squared. C is 10, and we're going to subtract side B, 15, over 2 times A times C. After you do these a few times, you pick up on kind of the pattern of these equations. So let's see. Okay, this is 326.9876, and here is 425.2. So if we divide those, we get cosine of B is 0.769, so do your inverse cosine, and angle B is going to be about 39.7 degrees. So 39.7 degrees here, and then we can find angle angle C is about 25.3 degrees. Again, just subtracting from 180. Okay, so moving on, we have a couple of word problems here. Softball field, it's a square, so these are 4 right angles. Okay. The pitching mound is directly in between home plate and second base, so you may assume that this is a 45-degree angle. We are looking for the distance from the pitcher's mound to first base. However, do not assume that you have a 90-degree angle at the pitcher's mound or that it is a 45-degree angle at first base. Okay, you don't necessarily have that information. Now, it is close, but it is not exact. Okay, so for this one, we are looking for this distance. We have 60, we have 45. Okay, and we also know that this distance is 43 feet. So we have a side angle side here. So we're going to be doing A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times cosine of angle A. So I'm going to use this angle, my 45-degree angle, that's going to be my angle A. So when I substitute in, This simplifies to just a little bit over 1800. Now remember that's a squared, so square root, and you get A is about 42.4 feet. Okay, so a little bit less distance there. Okay, this last one, we are looking for the bearing from B to C. So remember, your bearing is always given from north. So here's our due north. So your origin is at B, and then as I turn to head towards C, it is that angle measure that I am looking for my bearing. Okay, so you are also told that A and B are directly east and west of each other, so you can assume that you have a 90-degree angle. So our plan is, I have all three sides of my triangle. I'm going to find angle B. I can then subtract 90, and then that will tell me my bearing. Okay, so we're going to be using cosine of B. So that's going to be 80 squared plus 60 squared minus 139 squared over 2 times 80 times 60. Again, I'm just following my formula. Plug this into your calculator to simplify. Okay, now remember, we're looking for an angle measure, so you're going to do the inverse cosine. And you get angle B, 166.15 degrees. Okay, so that's the whole angle of angle B. So then we want to subtract 90 degrees from that. And we're going to get 76.15 degrees. Okay, so this angle here, this is your 76.15 degree angle. So there's two ways you can label your bearing. You can just say, because bearing is always calculated from due north, you could just say you are on a bearing of 76.15 degrees, and that would be satisfactory. Or if you want to use your directions, it would be north 76.15 degrees to the east. Okay, so either one of those is fine.